Welcome to the RSI trade of the day. My name is Benjamin Poole, head trader here at Verified Investing. I've got a lot of stuff to talk about. Normally, well, at least in the last couple weeks, when I've talked about these stocks that have been that are on my radar, I've been talking about the relative strength index staying above the 30, getting into the 70, and staying elevated for an extended period of time, actually all day without piercing the 30. So here's a chart of Tempest AI. So I mentioned that this RSI had stayed extremely elevated the day before. I had an upside target for a shorting opportunity at $81.95. It got decently close to that. It was about 4%. And a stock like Tempest AI, as a smaller company, I was anticipating a nice surge up into this resistance level before a pullback. But then, as you can see what happened, we got a 5% pullback within the first 30 minutes of the open. Price action got a little bit of a bounce towards the middle part of the day around 1 o'clock, but still the relative strength index never got above the 30. Early part of the morning, got this nice flush off. After it broke this upswing parallel channel on the 19th of August, look at this, just to continue to float down. So just like above, when we're looking at stocks that are staying elevated, we look at the relative strength index and see about where it's trading. So if there's relatively low volatility and it just continually stays above the 70, or you can anticipate at least somewhat of a stronger stock for the day. Now, it could turn around the 1 o'clock time frame if the institutions decide they want to turn off their buy program, or in this case, turn off their buy program and let this float down. And that's kind of what happened with Nvidia, right? So broke this upswing parallel channel on the daily time frame, just a pretty slow float down. I know it looks on the 1 minute time frame, it looks like a big float, a big move to the downside, but really that's a 2% move. Brought the relative strength index below 30, continued up, up, up. But again, once the volatility dries out in a stock like Nvidia, then the relative strength index levels out and then heads higher. Heads lower. And that's exactly what price action does. So if you are bullish on Nvidia, what you want to do is say, all right, well, this was oversold all day yesterday. Not a tremendous move down. So where would our next support level be? All right, we broke this upswing parallel channel. So our next level of support, it looks like pre-market is a 176.18. However, you've got this gap fill at 173. So I'm not going to be playing this for the trade of the day. However, 173.72 is going to be a lot of support once it gets down in there. And based on the fact that it had been oversold pretty much all day, you can expect continuation of that movement before an expected bounce. So again, 173.72 is where I would be looking for a long position on Nvidia. Plus, if you look at the daily RSI, it's starting to get close to the 50 on a relatively strong stock. And so if it gets down to about 45 or even into the 40s, you can anticipate a pretty solid bounce as well. Trade of the day. All right, here we go. We're going to go over Palantir. Here's a chart of Palantir. I gave you guys my upside potential, max upside based on this upswing trend line at $190.05, based on the fact that the relative strength index on the daily time frame was where it was at. And look at that, it hit it. So go back and look, man. I pretty much called to the penny the exact top on Palantir. Doesn't happen often. I'm wrong a lot, but this was a case that I was correct. So it's fun to have that on there. So this Palantir trade, it's piercing below this gap fill on Palantir. The chart, and go in the 1 minute time frame, go to regular trading hours. Similar to what happened to Nvidia, you had this down move. Look at this price consolidation right underneath this downsloping trend line. The relative strength index stayed below the 70. So I anticipated a move to the downside. So now, because this gap fill is already played out, my initial target, I'm going long on Palantir at 151.06. This is a nice pivot point for me to take a long trade, and you have additional confluence where it's $149.74. You've got this wide range green bar candle. If it starts closing below this, it could get down to $148.22, this little pivot. If it starts closing below there, Palantir is heading much, much lower. Please make sure you like and subscribe. Ring that bell so you can get notified at 8:45 in the morning. And then if you guys want something specific on the trade of the day, if you want to look at relative strength index on the daily time frame or the 4 hour or whatever, you want me to go over that with you guys,